Hi, it's Christopher from DVG. It's NFL Fantasy Week 15, first week of the playoffs. Let's see how I did. Am I still in with a chance? And no, I'm not. I am out of the playoffs. I started with a good chance. Let's see what happened. There were some key players who just didn't want to play, and moving forward, if you have got these players, I'd be concerned too. So Badlands, it was tough. They've got a good scoring system, but there was some games where I thought I could have got it. It was up and down until Jalen Hurts scored 35 points, and it was pretty much a catch up from there. Joe Burrow, 24 points, really good. Jonathan Taylor injured, now out for the season, brilliant. Haven't done anything all year. I was hoping that he had some sort of playoff run that could have worked, and it was complete opposite. He's now written off. Austin Ekeler scoring 15 points, not too bad going forward. Is a solid there as well. Nick Chubb, I said I've been concerned about him getting what he needs to get, and they're not using him. That's the problem. It was a bad game, 9 points only. That's where I lost out massively there. Montgomery, was not expecting him to score 23 points. Absolutely doing loads of the work at Philadelphia. Yeah, I didn't expect that at all. Diggs was expecting a low score because of cautious of weather there. Hopkins was expecting more, but it's what it is. Garrett Wilson, great going forward if he's for some reason on your waiver, picking up straight away. Chris Moore was expecting to get more volume from him, being a game that they were going to be trailing, but nothing there. Hopkinson, considering the game, I would have expected more, and how they come back. Don Schultz performed nothing. I was expecting him to do really well and did absolutely nothing. Andy Dilton, 14 points, it's okay for him. Eric Carr, 19 points, good for Carr. Bills -2, was expecting that, to be honest. And 49ers, 10 points. We even got 4 points as a home advantage, so I didn't even get over 100. It was normal. But it was really the power of three players I expected to perform well did not. They only scored 14 points between all three, and I was expecting a lot more. And that was Taylor, Chubb, and Schultz. I was expecting 10 for Schultz. I was expecting at least 13 there, and I was expecting maybe 15 there. Actually, I was expecting 19 for Chubb, considering the game. But that's what it is. On the bench, there was nothing that can improve for me, and on the other end as well. But I am out of the playoffs. It does mean I've got to be spoiler, and I've got to make sure that I do not come last. I'm not paying for that trophy to be transported. Who else is in the playoffs though? It's some big scores as well. Hitman, 121 points, done really well, but not enough to beat Fanet at the top dogs, 169. Highest score of the week. We've got some great players on both sides. Tua, 17 points, consistent, but Cousins having a great game after his comeback at 32 points. Alvin Kamara actually doing something for once, but not massively, but still good to get in your lineup at 12 points. Jarvis Etienne, 12 points again, expected for him, doing really well. Derrick Henry, 25 points, doing particularly well. And Stevenson, who was questionable at times to come back at 25 points, had a blinding game. AJ Brown, 28 points. You're looking at this going, how did he lose? On fantasy this week, but exceptionally well. But just Jefferson matched him at 30 points. It was almost like back and forth with these, and then it goes down with Malcolm Gallup only getting 1 point and Waddle getting 20. Then you have Joko. That's not Joko. I can't say his name. Sorry. Tight end for Tennessee. 10 points, really respectable in there, but I'm not going to mention Travis Kelce at 20 points. So the Knight was expecting a lot more from him, but only 2 points. Pacheco, only 8 points there. Fields, 23, had a great game. Herbert had an awful game at 8 points. Commanders, 3. Eagles, 10. Going forward, I'd expect Herbert having a better game, and everyone else pretty much on par to do everything every week. Kamara, don't know what's going to happen with him going forward. Hopefully, he's going to put it up and get more in, more plays and more balls. They just need consistency. He's just got a net, not getting the volume at the moment. On the bench, could anything have changed? Yeah, but only for the worse, unfortunately. Gerald Patterson could have come in and the flex. Would that have beat him? No. And on the other side, you've got Juju, Mike Evans, and Matt Ryan. All potentially are good starters on any other team, any other week. It's a hard game, hard team that Wanderers has built. Lowest score of the week, Isla Trump. 61 points, and I think I'm playing him next as well, which is my brother-in-law. Gotta be that. I think we've played each other twice and we've won all so far in the season, so this will be the decider between us. At least then over Christmas I can actually say I beat him. 63 points, 154. Tampa still in the running. Purdy, 16 points, doing well for, you know, third string quarterback. They've got some real talent there, but it's a pretty safe offense. It's a quarterback friendly offense. Goff, 14 points. Speaking of that, that's what I was as well. I was without Debo and was affecting me. Mixon, 10 points, not getting enough in there. McCaffrey having a blinding game for 49ers, getting all those extra running plays and passing opportunities where Debo would normally sit in at 25 points. You had to play both Bengals running backs because he said he had no better option, and I think he's right. But with everyone injured, I'd expect him more from Pignon. Only 3 points. Jacobs not having his greatest game. You're expecting like all the 20 plus points, but still 12 is very credible for starting. Gabe Davis, whether was against it, was always going to be a low scorer and a non-starter in my opinion, but he's a big play dependent. CeeDee Lamb having a great game at 19 points, bring it back. Brandon Ayuk not having a great game. Mainly he is the wide receiver one, so you'd expect it, but they're just throwing everything to McCaffrey at short balls at the moment. Now Cooper, they're just not playing well. Browns 9 points. Andrews not having a great game. Lamar's not there. It's affecting everyone in that team at the moment. Only not 6 points for Mark Andrews. No, Fant 14 points, having really well. Normally not looked in with Lockett and Metcalf, but depending on who you're playing, he's quite good. Mike Williams, coming back with 10 points, respectable starter, and going forward should be as well. Smith, 17 points, doing really well considering how much is given to AJ Brown, and the attention on AJ Brown that always means that he's going to get some volume coming his way. Mayfield, well, yeah, it wasn't a good week for him. Only 6 points. Here's what it is. Say Jones having a blinding game. Wish I picked him up. 34 points. Jackson is a real star in the making there, I think. On the bench, could anything have different? Could we change that one running back? And the answer is no. Well, maybe no. Jalen Warden, 11 points. Would you have started him? I don't know. It's a hard over there. But on the bench, Jarrett McKinnon having a blinding game at 34 points. He's done really well, and he could be starting every week, I think, at the moment if he gets the volume. It is still run by committee there, but depending on who they play, he can make a team. He can win you a game, win you a week as well. On the other side, who is still in? Chicago. This is big scores, isn't it? 137. Fortunately, not enough at 164, but Dak the future, which is a scary team at the moment when they all hit off, and they did that week. Trevor Lawrence, great game at 27 points. Wish I traded Carr for him when I had the opportunity, but unfortunately not. Josh Allen having 35 points, having great as well. Connor coming back at 17 points, having solid. Aaron Jones actually getting the ball and actually making some good plays at 20 points. Expect that going forward. Hubbard, only 9 points, not getting the volume there. Unfortunately, it was a low-scoring game as well. Saquon Barkley was a bit concerned over him being injured, but showing that he can run through everyone at the moment. When you need him to show up, Adams wasn't there this week in the playoffs, unfortunately. Wasn't getting enough volume and was always having double coverage around him, so the opportunities wasn't there. Chris Godwin getting opportunities. It was just a really good passing game by Brady, and they were making opportunities and running off the ball as well. So Lockett doing quite well, respectable 13 points. He is a starter every week for me. Another one is Brown, 14 points. It's okay. You would expect more going forward. He has a lot more upside, but he has increased his floor going forward, I think. Kittle, 25 points, still really solid. He's a great tight end. It's a tight end 3 every week for me. Gerald Everett, if he scores, he's brilliant. Otherwise, there's not much going on. Pittman, hey, with Taylor out, you'd expect more volume coming his way, as the running game wasn't there, and that's exactly what you got going forward. I'd expect a lot more for him. Joe Judy, he wasn't on a monster of 3 touchdowns he got last week, so but respectable 14 points going forward. You'd expect the same. Daniel Jones not having the running upside against Washington, and was just script wasn't with him, unfortunately. Dak Prescott having a great game for fantasy wise anyway, at 20 points. And Broncos, great defense. You sort of expect it, and actually they're a good hidden defense if they're on the waiver wire, depending on who they're playing. Going forward, they got quite a good matchup at 12 points. Chiefs, not really the best defense in the league, but 5 points nevertheless. Najee Harris at 14 points could have changed things quite a lot, especially if you're Chubbard. And Mostart as well with 16 points could have brought him in. Could that have changed everything? Would you sort him for Daniel Jones? Yeah, he could have. But on the other side, Higgins was told he might not even play, but did play and played great, 16 points. Waller coming back as well, expecting him some good things coming from him, considering he's come back from a long injury. So there was still more available points on Dak's team as well. So, but I think they all picked the best they could at the time and the information they had at the time. For the teams not wanting to come last and pay for that massive trophy, Birds, you're in trouble, Chip. 84 points and 113 points. We'll look at the playoffs afterwards and schedule and stuff like that. Hill only 10 points, not doing well. He's not really a top quarterback anyway. Holmes 32 points, having a great game. And if Walker coming back and actually running some solid runs and doing really respectable. Miles Sanders not doing very much, and that is what it's like there, unfortunately. He just doesn't get the volume sometimes, and then is amazing the other times. You've got to roll with it. Jerome Williams, unless he's getting touchdown volume, he's not really a great player to pick, in my opinion. But normally you'd expect at least 1 touchdown a game to get them 6 points at least. But so you'd match at 10 points. So he's a starter every week, but you're always running a risk, and that week was. Murray 21 points, having a really good game considering the running. They switched on. There was a lot of good play by him. Tyreek Hill 21 points. You always want more upside for him, but 21 points is fantastic. Chase proving that he's back from injury. 20 points. He is Burrow's go-to, and he's doing a great partnership. Watson not really getting much as what he has been, unfortunately. Back down to earth on there with 8 points and a quiet game generally. And that affected Alan Lazard as well. He's only getting 1 point, not really much volume there. Taylor Kotkin not getting much considering what is available in the run on the wide receiver end. Only 1 point there. Pat didn't play. He's injured. Not too sure. Going forward, if he's healthy, he's a starter every week. Van Jefferson, you're expecting him to get loads of volume now. Unfortunately, there's just no volume there at the moment. They've got quarterback issues all over the place. J.K. Dobbins proving that he can be the main running back at the moment, with Gus Edwards not really contributing. I think they're just going to give him more and more the ball. Zach Wilson performing very well in fantasy terms, and expecting going forwards. Let's see what happens with White if he is available. Steelers at 7 points and Bengals at 8 respectively. On the bench, not really much you could do different. There's nothing that would have changed the game, and no players that would have changed anything anyway. Maybe DJ Moore going forward. He's had some bad weeks, but he is their main wide receiver, and Cam Akers seems to have a good solid floor at the moment. And last but not least, he would have beat me, would have beat a couple other people. Just seems to be this year for Tony. 107 points versus 114. GJ Smith, he's great. He is a fantasy hero at some points for some teams, but only 14 points this week. Taylor, only 12 points there. He's not getting much, to be honest. Swift, 12 points. If he's getting a touchdown, he's getting you everything. Dalvin Cook back in the week. Don't know what's been happening all year, but suddenly, week of playoffs, he switches it on. 26 points. Elliott, 14 points. Had a quiet game, but then was split with Pollard as well. Only 14 points exactly. Both starters going forward, though. Keenan Allen doing really well. I was expecting a lot more from him, but 16 points is very respectable. Taylor Heineke, if he's throwing the ball, it's going to Terry McLaurin at 13 points. It's good, but not much upside, unfortunately, in the whole Washington team at the moment. Joshua Palmer, 9 points. It's respectable if you need a filler. Watch out for people who have given up on the playoffs, though. They might start dropping players just to be wound up. Christian Kirk, 15 points. I think going forward, he has had a great year, and next year he is definitely worth drafting. Be interesting, especially when they get the other running back, wide receiver going there as well. Greg, only 2 points. Not much really going on there. And David Njoku was expecting more, but because Higgins then played and Taylor Boyd played, the balls that you would expect him going there didn't come that way. Oh no, I mean it's in Browns, isn't it? Sorry, that's me just reading it wrong. Yes. Browns just not passing the ball. That's basically it. It wasn't too much. Peoples-Jones, he looks good, but without that touchdown, he's a non-starter. Unfortunately, that's what saved his week. Chris Olave, 8 points. You would have expected more, but unfortunately, not much going on there. And Tom Brady, he's a solid floor every week at 16 points. And Devin Singleton, only 9 points, not much going forward. Cardinals, 11 points, and Ravens only 8 points. On the bench, anything that would have changed anything is AJ Dillon having a great game. You wouldn't expect him, and Jones having a great game as well at 22 points. Would you have replaced him with anyone? Only because of hindsight. You go Peoples-Jones and Palmer, and then superflexing AJ Dillon, but I wouldn't expecting him to do 20 odd points anyway. Maybe I would expect him to do similar to Josh Palmer. So depending on who you thought were going to take the upside that week. Unfortunately, AJ Dillon on the bench. And with a great week and the buy, you had to buy him as well, Ingram. Why didn't you start him? I don't understand that one. But luckily, it wasn't your loss. So we've seen the teams, we've seen the scores. Let's look at the fantasy standings. Let's see the playoffs. Who's in, who's out. So Badlands and Wanderers, both good scorers. It'll be interesting to know what happens there. And Tampa and Dak going well. It is really the best teams have made it, to be honest. Arguably, Badlands was ranked lower than us, but points average on their team, they were miles ahead of me. So I really rate them as a better team than me anyway, regardless of the ranking. So going forward, I think Badlands got really good upside with some players that have been playing badly for the last 2 weeks. Let's see how they go going forward. Wanderers has had all the upside in a moment, and hasn't had really any massive injuries, which has affected a lot of people. So then the just to keep you interested in fantasy, we've got the family decider between me and Matthew. Let's hope I can get there. Still win it, you know, could come 5th, you know, which is respectable in this league. On the other side, last place. Birds and Lovers. Let's see what's going to happen. Cleveland getting sneaky in there. Might not come last, which is all good. But that is it. I'm out of the playoffs, but doesn't mean we can stop the content. Let's wish everyone luck. Hope you are still in there. And if you're not, pick up the best players in the waivers and be a spoiler. Best of luck to you. Hope you like, subscribe, all of that jazz. See you soon.